Mr. Aslam, would you describe yourself as a wealthy man?
I am successful.
Mr. Aslam, the question was, are you wealthy?
I am.
Are you introducing your client's wealth to show that he would have no financial reason to practice blackmail?
Yes, my lord.
Then perhaps you'd be specific about it. Wealth is a vague term.
Well, my lord, my client had strong reservations about his business affairs being made any more public than necessary for reasons which will appear later.
Well, it's a matter for you, Mr. Parsons. There's no point in mentioning money at all unless we're going to be specific about it. It's a waste of time.
Your lordship pleases. Mr. Aslam, what is the value of your combined assets?
I do not know.
Your income, then?
My income last year was £19,000.
And you are also associated with a number of charitable concerns, I believe.
Yes, I give my spare time to the Fulchester Immigrant Council, of which I'm chairman. That is my chief concern, but I'm also a council member of several youth clubs, sporting clubs, and that sort of thing.
Yes. How long have you been associated with the Fulchester Immigrants Council?
Oh, 16 years. I was a founder member.
What are its objects?
To help immigrants.
Yes, but in what way?
Anyway, dealing with the authorities for them, arranging mortgages, coping with language problems, filling in forms, sometimes direct financial help.
So would it be true to say that for virtually 16 years you have given all your spare time to helping your fellow immigrants in difficulties?
Yes.
And that blackmailing them for trivial sums simply doesn't make sense, both from a moral and financial viewpoint.
That is completely correct.
Yes. Now, Mr. Aslam, you've heard the prosecution state a number of grounds why they think that you are guilty of this charge.
Yeah.
There is the question of the letters that you sent to Mr. Ali.
Yes.
Now, why in those letters did you not say that the money demanded was for a debt? And why did you send them anonymously?
Mr. Ali should know what that was for. And the debt was an illegal one, so I did not wish to identify myself should the letters fall into the wrong hands. Besides, I feel it to be good business practice always to stay at arm's length.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, in all my businesses, I act through an intermediary or at a distance. It is good business practice.
So the anonymity was nothing unusual?
Not at all.
No. Now, how much was Mr. Ali's total debt to you?
£60.
Then
Owed to Mr. Wheeler, actually.
Yes. Then the £10 a week would only be paid for 6 weeks.
Yes.
Now, why did you not mention this in the letter? Why did you not mention in the letter the £10 would only be for 6 weeks?
For the same reason. I did not wish to give any clues should the letter fall into the wrong hands.
Yes. Now, there is mention of a threat to go to the police.
Only to ask advice about how to recover a bad debt.
Yes, so there was no threat implied about telling the police of Mr. Ali's hiding place.
Of course not. And it does not say that. These charges of blackmail are stupid, brought deliberately to make a colourful story so that he can sell it to the highest price.
Well, we'll never mind about that now. But did you have difficulty in finding where his hiding place was?
Not at all. Everyone knew where he was.
What do you mean?
He was staying at his cousin's. Everyone knew that. And there was no real threat to him. There is no real risk of deportation. It's very slight.
Members of the jury, under recent regulations, the Home Secretary may use his discretion over deportation and take note of any compassionate grounds.
Yes, my lord. And here is much compassionate grounds. Mr. Ali is married. He has a family. He is using these words, in hiding and deportation, as colour to his article. There was no real threat, even if the police...
Mr. Ali, you will remain silent. This is a point I can deal with in my summing up. Let's pass on to other matters, Mr. Parsons.
As you please, my lord. Well, let us turn to the journey from Pakistan, Mr. Aslam, the one you arranged for Mr. Ali.
Yes.
What were the financial arrangements?
£600 to cover the entire trip, except for the North Sea crossing.
Yes, the crossing was not included.
No,
Now, why was that?
because I did not know then how much it would cost. Apparently it varies from week to week according to how dangerous is the risk of being caught. 1 week it may be £50, the next 500.
Yes, I see. Now, I must turn and ask you about your arrangements with Mr. Wheeler.
Oh, dear me.
Yes, quite so.
Well, the arrangements always was that the passengers should pay him direct themselves.
But you did telephone him just 3 hours before he left for Holland.
Only to say I could not get to Whitby myself.
So during that conversation on the phone, you never made any change in the financial arrangements?
Not at all.
No. Now, you've heard Mr. Wheeler say...
I don't think we should pay much regard to Mr. Wheeler's evidence. He so commendably stated he could not remember.
Yes, but, my lord, I do think it might help the jury.
Well, it's up to you, Mr. Parsons. It's really a waste of time.
Your lordship pleases. Mr. Aslam, a few weeks ago you were convicted of aiding and abetting the illegal entry of some of your fellow immigrants into Great Britain.
Yes.
Now, will you please tell us why you did this?
I was sorry for them.
Yes. You wanted to help them?
Yes. They all had relatives here, and those relatives came to see me through the immigrant council. They were all most distressed. All of these men were Commonwealth citizens, and in my view have a moral right to the protection of the law.
Let's not go into the moral rights. All I want to establish is that you did this to help them.
Yes.
Yes, you didn't do it as a business venture.
Oh, no. I lost money on it.
You lost money?
Yes.
How much did you lose?
£23.63p on each person.
But you're a careful businessman.
I miscalculated.
Now, you have seen the private account books for 1970, which have been brought in evidence.
Yes.
Now, it contains a calculation which could imply a profit.
Oh, that was my very first estimate. It means nothing. I have told the police.
Yes, but it did include a figure for the crossing from Zandvoort.
A guess.
Which turned out to be correct.
I often am.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Aslam. Now, Mr. Aslam, is it not a fact that you have been honoured 4 times by the city of Fulchester for your voluntary work among immigrants?
Yes.
Yes. And is it also true that the conviction brought against you for helping your fellow countrymen into the country is the only conviction you've ever had brought against you?
Yes.
And is your wealth and income such that blackmail for such trivial sums is ludicrous?
Yes.
And is the charge of blackmail now brought against you totally without foundation?
It most certainly is.
Thank you, Mr. Aslam.
Then will you tell us, Mr. Aslam, why in 1948 in Pakistan you were imprisoned and served 3 years hard labour?
Oh, my lord, that is totally inadmissible.
Well, I must admit that I am surprised too, but as you put in the good character of your client, Mr. Golding is at liberty to challenge it if he feels he has grounds.
It's a conviction in the foreign court outside the jurisdiction of the English law.
Oh, it's quite admissible, Mr. Parsons. Any foreign conviction would be. And anyhow, Pakistan law is basically English law, and 1948 was almost identical to it. As you, Mr. Golding, you have the relevant papers.
I have a certified copy of the entry in the Callot District Court of Sessions record, my lord. In fact, I have several copies. But in any case, I am entitled to ask Mr. Aslam whether it is true.
Yes, please continue.
Mr. Aslam, will you tell the court what the charge was for which you were convicted?
My lord, I must protest most strongly. In 1948, the Pakistani legal system had severed itself from the English law. They went their own way on independence, which was surely at least a year before.
Mr. Parsons, it is admissible.
What was the charge?
It is a complex matter which cannot easily be explained.
Was the charge blackmail?
But the circumstances were so completely different.
It was blackmail, wasn't it?
Yes.
The case of the Queen against Aslam will be resumed tomorrow in the Crown Court.